Welcome back, my friends. Thank you for standing by and allowing me that short break. Welcome to Contra Hardcore on the Genesis. This is my continued first playthrough of this game. We've worked on it for one night. I saw a couple levels. I'm gonna dive in and see if I can see a few more tonight. This game appears that it's got multiple playable characters and it's got branching paths, but I'm just sticking to one character and I'm trying to make all the same path decisions until I reach credits for the first time. I'm gonna try out all the characters and I'm gonna explore all the options, but we're gonna do them one at a time. I don't want to see too much of the game too quickly because it is a first playthrough. I would really appreciate if you could kind of help me go through it blind. Let me work out for myself, like, all the aspects of the controls. Let me discover for myself all the characters, the bosses, how many stages there are. Try and keep me in the dark about the game, basically. By all means, share your thoughts once you know that once you've seen me interact with something and you know for a fact that I understand it thoroughly. But until then, I'd appreciate if people would hold back a bit. Just a heads up. Sir Rack of Lamb says, I'm headed to bed. Everyone have a great night. Have a great night, Sir Rack of Lamb. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your company, my friend. I hope that you sleep well. Have a great tomorrow. Good luck with the night shift. I guess you don't really need good luck wishes since you are a night owl. But I wish you good luck nonetheless. Alright, we're just playing through with the sort of basic setup. Let me look at the let me look at the controls. There we go. Select is A. Yeah. That's what we want. Have a great night sleeping, Agent Frownie, Loyal says. A small mistype. Well, wait a minute. I must have done something wrong. Because we were playing as the... Well, maybe not. I don't know. We were playing as the Wolfman before, so that's what we have to stick with. I thought he was the default character. I think I'm wrong. I think this guy is the... Because it was on this guy this time. Maybe it picks a random character each time. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We started with the Wolfman. We're stuck with the Wolfman. Fang. I'm going to be skipping through a lot of the story. I'll try to, let it all appear on the screen for a moment. But I've already read it, so I'm apologies, but I'm not going to be reading it out loud again. If I get to stuff I haven't seen before, I'll go back to reading it. Oh. It's the cutscene. I panicked. It's thinking, oh no, something's wrong. I can't move my character. My character wasn't even on the screen, but nothing was moving at my influence. Oh, that was close. The weapons, the alternate weapons cost me a life. Certainly a very intense game, this one. Everything moves. Everything moves around very quickly. The thing about this robot is I think it's safe to just stand here and wail on him. I think he fires to either side of us, yeah. Well, that's a Contra boss for you, right? If you can stand in place and just attack. I love Contra, but some of the bosses are just like real jokes. Next boss is probably going to humiliate me a bit, though. I've had some difficulties with this guy. Off to a bad start. Except he's confused and firing the wrong direction. That's good for me. No, I jumped into its path. Victory. Hey, we cleared a stage. Alright, and our choice has always been to go after Deadeye Joe. I really like the colors in that skyline back there. It reminds me of the sunset in Super C, actually. Oh, cool. One of the, like, one thing about the game that's a little maddening is, like, it's really inconsistent in, like, what buttons you have to press for menus and dialogue. It's a small thing, but it's consistently irritating. Like, to advance dialogue when you're reading text, you have to tap the B button, but then, like, when you're given a choice to confirm your selection, you have to press C. And like when you're on that character select screen, you can't push start to start. You have to push one of the letter buttons. It's just very odd. So it frequently takes me like longer than it should to perform simple tasks because I pressed the wrong button at least once before I press the right one. But start works there for those menus, but then here to select your player, it doesn't work. You have to press C. It's so weird. disagree. No, I guessed wrong about what it was going to do next. I'm just bleeding continues. It's a really tough, this game. How far back do we go? Not that far. This is certainly acceptable. So I died the first time trying to jump over each of them individually, so that I thought, alright, I'll do them 2 at a time, and then I died doing them 2 at a time as well, so I don't know what to do. Other than, you know, just play better. He's gonna run up. Oh no, he's gonna jump. I haven't quite memorized his patterns, you know. No. So we get to something new. I die. I use a continue. I pass it. Get to something new. Die. Use a continue. Pass that thing. I don't have enough continues to work my way through the game. Oh no! It takes us back here. Only one? Only one. No! What an odd-looking effect this level has. I like when the Genesis tries to do an effect, to, you know, basically to try and do its versions of mode 7 effects. Things always start looking kind of weird. I like it. There's a lot of moving and shifting stuff in Castlevania Bloodlines. And it all kind of looks ugly and weird, but that's kind of what makes it look cool. feel like this level here, though, is more of a spectacle than anything in Bloodlines. I imagine this must have come out later. His hideout is under a garbage dump. Forgot about that. If you haven't played this before, like, you're not going to believe the controls, right? You got A button, B button, and C button, right? C jumps, B shoots, and A selects your weapon. But if you are currently firing and you tap the A button, it'll lock your character in place for 8 directional, like, stationary firing, and then you tap it again to release. And, like, that's their, like, solution, right? Because the Genesis controller doesn't have shoulder buttons like the SNES does. So you hold a shoulder button to get this, you know, mode on the SNES. But since you can't do that, they did this, like, tapping solution. And I mean, like, it makes sense, but it's also a pretty clunky workaround for not having shoulder buttons. I mean, you can't blame the Genesis for not having them, right? It came out first, so it's not like, you know, it's lacking a feature. That's something that, like, no one was doing, right, before the SNES. But it's just it's a real shame. Oh no, this is bad, because this boss, like, you really need to know what this boss is up to. And I've slept since the last time we tried this, so. His patterns of behavior are in no way fresh in my memory. Yuck. These, like, hopping robots, they take a few hits, right, to take out. They don't, you know, die from the first bullet. And the trouble is, like, with that spread gun that I had a moment ago, like, as you're attacking them, they're moving in, like, toward you, like, through your spread shots, and they're hidden by them. So, like, I'm standing here firing at this enemy, and I can't tell if it's alive or dead as it comes toward me to take me out. No, I thought he was going to go over to the right. Ah, that was it. Alright, you know. It's going to be a long adventure with a lot of practice. A lot of practice required. I learn one little piece, and then we start again. We learn one little piece, and then we start again. No, I disagree. Awful. Awful. I couldn't have done worse if I tried. Alright, we'll just take it from the top there. I feel like this game's like default difficulty. So far as I'm aware, it only has one difficulty. You might unlock a hard mode. There doesn't seem to be difficulty options in the menu, which I'm fine with. I really hope there's not an unlockable hard mode because it's already so hard. But I was gonna say, like, its default difficulty feels a lot like Contra 3's hard mode, which is a real shame because Contra 3's hard mode is unplayable. It's not to say this is unplayable. It's a touch more reasonable, but only a touch. Everything moves so fast, and your character is so very fragile. Which, I mean, I guess describes all the Contra games, but... You can't jump past this middle part until the building finishes falling. I think that's the only part in the game where we've come across the need or ability to climb so far, is the one little piece on the side of this building. I don't think I've done any other climbing yet. Oh, also, there's not enough buttons on the controller for a dedicated bomb button. So to use a bomb, we have to select bomb from our inventory up there on the top. I guess this is the first Contra to give you an inventory of weapons like that, though. Super Contra lets you carry 2 weapons, but to have a whole row of them like this. We saw this in the Contra Adventure, but I think that game came out afterward, right? So, have a great night, Frownie. I'm off to the Kirby Dreamland. Thanks again for the fun and relaxing stream. Thank you for being here, Loyal. I hope you sleep well. I really appreciate you spending your time with me, my friend. And we'll see you again. For those interested, while I'm thinking about it, we should be streaming again tomorrow night, around 11 p.m. Central Time, like always. Barring any calamity, I should be streaming again tomorrow. The plan is to work on more AO the Clown, the platformer we've been playing on the Switch, and also more Dark Souls. And I found a new area in Dark Souls, so there will be something, new to see. It won't just be a repetitive, aimless wandering like we've had, for a couple nights. I found a brand new area at the very end of the stream last time we played, and I didn't really explore it yet, except for like a few feet into the area before I died. So it's gonna be all new stuff. Very excited. I thought I was dead. I might be now. Oh, those little guys are tough to fight. Everything feels really small in this game. Like my character sprite feels really small. Like almost the size of like an NES character sprite. But you know what? I think I like that. Because that means you've got more room on the screen to move around. I mean, I certainly would rather my character be too small than too big, right? But I don't think this character is too small. I think this is a good size for a player character. But it does feel a little odd. Because this character is, like, I feel like smaller than a 16-bit playable character usually is. Which is, you know, kind of a shame. What is going on? Stop! Ah. I'm struggling because I can't get my weapon choice right. I'm getting killed while I'm messing around with the weapon select. It's not a good feeling. I never use this weapon. This weapon is not good. It's probably, like, super powerful. It does seem to be very strong. But it's so awkward. The buttons on the Genesis controller are, like, really big. I wonder what it would feel like if you had, like, a modern controller with, like, the 4-button diamond shape that you always see, but those buttons were as big as the Genesis buttons. I wonder if that would... Because I kind of like the feel... Like, I feel like the buttons on the Switch control... The Pro controller are a little big, and, as they are. And I feel like I like that about them. But I'm wondering, like, what's the limit? Because surely a diamond of, like, 4 of these size buttons would be too much. But, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to try it. There we go. I was having trouble switching my firing mode. understand intellectually how to work the different firing modes, but it's not intuitive for my fingers to like. If only we had more lives in the game, like, it would almost be worth it to lose a life just to lose this power-up, because it's that useless to me. Oh, I thought I was dead. Now I am. Alright, that's not bad. Look how far we got. Like, before, I was using to continue at, like, every checkpoint. And now, on only our second try, first continue, basically exactly where we died last time, right? But that was where it was, like, where we died for good. So I just reclaimed all the progress that all of our, you know, credits took last time. I got it all back on a single credit this time. So, not bad. Though I have a feeling I'm going to be spending quite a few credits to see progress again. I have a tendency with this other car up here, like, I know it's coming up and it's going to shoot missiles, but I have a tendency, like, as I'm trying to run back, because I got to run too far toward it to scroll the screen. There, look, see, I did it again. I have to get closer to that car than I would like to be, because the camera, the camera locks onto your character poorly, right? See, look how far. I'm over halfway across the screen to move the camera ahead. Like the camera should start scrolling with your character in like this position, not way over here. But anyway, so I have to get too close to that car, and then I want to retreat and duck, but it's hard to do that. I end up retreating and firing down. Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to really move your thumb, right, to slide into the ducking position. It's just a little odd, because the Genesis D-pad isn't like a cross, it's like a disc with a cross printed on it, right? So it's a little awkward when you're used to the standard cross D-pad. I want to say I need an adapter that let me plug a Super NES controller into the Genesis, but I think that would be cheating. I just gotta get good with the hardware. It's a real shame. It's a real shame how far to the right you have to be to advance your camera. Of all the, you know, all the things that, like, all the, like, quirks that get to me about this game, that's the one where it's like, that's not just a quirk, that's just kind of bad. It's a shame, too, because I really like so much about this game. It's a shame to have something kind of irritating like that in it. Victory. No. Oh, that's weird. If you're running and you're firing down like this, you can't jump. Like, because when you hold down and you press the jump button, you slide, but diagonal down also counts as down. It's like, if you're running along like this and you try to jump, you'll slide instead. Oh, I don't like that. I noticed it on the ramp over there, because the enemies, like, I wanted to jump and fire downward at a diagonal, right? So, like, it made sense to me to be holding it before I jumped, but nope. You have to pick your direction after you jump, because if you're holding diagonal, you slide. Ooh, that's not great. This is the furthest I've been, by the way, as, and this room's gonna turn purple and have a bunch of constellations. Yeah. This room is the furthest thing I've seen. I think we've defeated the first constellation, and I died to the second one, and that was the furthest I'd ever been. Oh my goodness, it's just going crazy. Hey, it dropped a cool thing, though. So I don't know what to do next. I'll probably instantly die to whatever this is. Oh, we got a life, though. No! Hey, we got some credits, though, and we probably start right there in that room. Nice. It's Superman 64. Welcome to the virtual zone. I just need a maze and a bunch of rings. Oh. You fight well, fool. But what? He's fighting me with Tetris. What am I supposed to do about this? I was trying to, because that was new dialogue. I started to try to read the dialogue, and I don't know, something went wrong. I think we might be invincible when the slide is happening, because I seem to be going through that enemy a lot. I think I really should be on the other side of these guys. Yeah, that's where I was before. No. See, now that's a real Tetris attack. I know it's got an extra block. It's not really Tetris, right? It's Pinterest. But it's close enough. I love this boss arena. The purple and blue smoke blowing through. Oh, it's amazing. The colors on these, like the blue and gold of the constellation enemies is really cool too. That doesn't fire upward. No! Oh my goodness. This reminds me of the, it reminds me of the robot boss from Castlevania Bloodlines. It's kind of silly in the same way that boss is. From the top. I feel like I was probably really close. For whatever reason, every time I start a new attempt, it always, like, the next attempt always starts out as trash, it would seem. Every other Every other attempt is decent. I'm gonna throw this life away and start fresh. I think this werewolf character is pretty alright, but he needs a more extensive vocabulary. I've heard that it's payback time a lot. Weird stuff happens to incorporate. So, like, one of the things is, like, yeah, one of the things, and this is true of Bloodlines as well. And it might just be true of Genesis games in general. I don't know. I haven't played enough. It certainly seems to be with Konami Genesis games. A lot of, like, bigger things, like, the seams really stand out. Like, this robot, like, it very clearly exists as two halves. The seams don't really line up. The halves don't really line up along the seam in the center at a lot of times. And when that building falls over, there's like a seam where the background is stitched together that creates weird things with your stream of bullets. Doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's just, I don't know. It's noticeable. Hey, welcome back, Sparrow. 2 days this has happened to me now. I finish work, and I crash hard and fall asleep for 2 or so hours. I see you're up to Contra now. Yeah, Battletoads. You didn't miss much of Battletoads, Sparrow. It's pretty much the same as it always is. Contra, we've seen a little bit of new stuff, but hardly. Just some extra forms of the boss. Battletoads, except I have a blue beanie on, yeah. So I was asking this earlier, Sparrow. Do you know, does there exist like an application or program for automating the conversion of .tap files to another form of another file type that the C64 can understand, like a cartridge or a program file. Because while I enjoy using the TAP files, I don't think that many other people would have the patience for the load times that they require on the C64 Mini. To have to sit here and just chinwag with me for like 4 or 5 minutes in between games might be more than a lot of people want to put up with. A quick look says it's the most annoying format ever. So one of the things I like about the TAP files is that they tend not to have cracker intros on them, which I don't mind in and of themselves. And like I would say, I said all this before, but I'm gonna say it all again to you. Like, the cracker intros are somewhat bothersome for the stream for a couple reasons. Like, in and of themselves, you know, sometimes they're fascinating, right? Because they're like, they'll do little animations, and sometimes they're their own music and stuff like that. And by all means, like, if someone put work into, you know, making a crack, I understand them wanting credit. But on the other hand, like, sometimes those intros are like, they go on for a while. And so for the stream, like, one, that's a minor issue. A more serious issue is occasionally those messages, those cracker intros contain messages that are rather rude and disparaging of other cracker groups. And that is language that I don't want appearing on my stream necessarily. So that's the biggest issue. But the TAP files don't tend to have those, so that's a plus. But then I need to convert them. You may be able to extract PRG files from TAP files, but it's hit and miss. I mean, maybe I'll just make everyone endure the load times, and every time it does, we can just talk for a few minutes about how we used to sit through those load times back in the day. There was a culture there of having disdain for other cracker groups. We take a step back. These were kids in their bedrooms who were smart enough to do the hard work and lucky enough to occupy their telephone line within state-of-the-art bulletin board services. I mean, you know, I kind of get it on the one hand. I get why it's like that. but I don't necessarily approve of it. Teenage aggression. Yeah. I've seen most of them. Yeah, most of them you can make go away, but still, it's just more convenient if they're not there to have to deal with to begin with. Sometimes fire on the joystick, but in the opposite port. Yeah. The height of obnoxiousness. It's weird that the um it's weird that the mini takes so long to load the TAP files though, because at least Conga made it seem like like C64 emulators tend to be able to load even those file types, very quickly. So it's odd to me that the mini takes so long to load them. Because it has it has an accelerated loading feature that's on by default, I believe. But it doesn't seem to affect the TAP files. Emulators like Vice, you can essentially skip the loading. Yeah, very, very curious. No, I didn't make it to the boss. We have to do all that again. I think the best bet is not to use TAP files for fast loading, but as you say, comes at the risk of having the crack intro with some inappropriate language. Well, that's why I usually just black out the screen when I'm switching games. That's part of why I do that all the time. Most of them are fine, but I figure I just do it all the time regardless because it's a good habit, and then I don't have to remember, and then also I don't have to remember which which files have what as their intros. I also do it because I don't like necessarily spoiling what else I have up my sleeve to play before I'm ready to play it. Ahoy, Rush Pirate. Welcome to Contra on the Genesis. I'm happy to do some vetting of games on your behalf if you want. That's very kind of you to offer, Sparrow. Beware, I may take you up on it. Better put my wooden sword to good use. At our school's library of games, we had a mix of original games, copies of those, and cracked games. I wonder who it was that generation or two before me who had a VIC modem and parents who were understanding of them making international calls to the UK to obtain their data. And even then, how did they know? I mean, they didn't, the kids didn't necessarily, obtain the disc through all that means, right? They probably got it. They probably, got a copy from an adult who'd done that legwork, I would imagine. Maybe they had, maybe they had an uncle or someone who was a tech geek. Yeah, maybe even international family. Some of those cracks had their BBS number on them. I was saying before, almost every game in our collection that we had when I was a kid, I don't remember having like any flashy, like elaborate intros for them, but almost all of them had a scrolling text on the title screen that said "cracked by FBI and CIA." Which is also interesting since the Commodore is such a European thing, and those are decidedly American handles. A friend of mine on the street who got an Amiga, his father worked at a local factory, and it was the work colleagues of the factory who knew a guy who knew a guy sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, imagine that's how all the software we had was obtained. Oh no, it's worse than I thought. I was thinking about that the other day when I said, due to your experience with the C64, you share something that brings you close to us in a way. The irony is the Commodore computer was born in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it does seem to be. It does seem to be very much a to be more of a European thing, like culturally, I guess. Um, and the Amiga, no, I missed out on the Amiga completely. The original Commodore who made the calculators and typewriters was in Toronto, Ontario. Because microcomputers were huge in Europe with the BBC Micro, Sinclair Spectrum, and Amstrad CPC. Yeah, so many of them. So many of them are things that I've only ever just kind of heard of. But see, that's the thing, though, because like my parents lived in Italy for several years, so like that's probably why my dad had a Commodore, is he probably caught the bug for it from his Italian friends. The helicopter phase lasts forever. And now it's back to the start. Wipe all the tears from my eyes. Contra is so hard. I have something in the corner of this eye. There we go. Goodness. I recall there being an Italian home micro that was popular there. I'll have to search it up. Italy had had Olivetti as a manufacturer. In fact, my first IBM compatible was Olivetti branded, and it was awesome. I had an Olivetti typewriter once upon a time. The Acorn Electron, which was a smaller, cheaper version of the BBC Micro, had a chip that was as important as the CPU at the time by a manufacturer called Frownie. They had something to do with the micro era. Oh no. I can't look at the screen. That was, whatever that was is something I haven't been to yet. Game's trying to spoil itself. Olivetti had a presence in my hometown at the time. They're a major sponsor for the Grand Prix, and signs were everywhere. I was trying to recall, I had an Olivetti Underwood typewriter that I got rid of several years ago. I currently have 2 typewriters because I like them. I have a portable Royal typewriter, and I have a stay at home. Not that I poured it anywhere, but it's light to be poured, and by light I mean it weighs like 25 pounds. And then I've got a full-sized one, but I think it's just an Underwood. I don't think it's Olivetti Underwood. I think it's just Underwood. Yeah, the typewriter. Hey, Lightbane, welcome in. Can a game really spoil itself? It sure can. It sure can. The demos that play, I don't like to look at those too closely. They'll show me upcoming bosses and stuff I haven't seen yet. I don't like to see it until I've earned it. How horrible. Someone said, because I pointed that out before, that I don't want the demo, I hate when the demos play because they'll spoil something. And I think it might have been Conga who said, considering demos to be spoilers is the most frowny thing I've ever heard. Adelaide used to host the Grand Prix for a good 10 plus years there. Get the typewriter thing. Some of them are amazing. I like that era where there were small LCD screens enough to fit maybe half a sentence on that allowed you to commit text line by line. See, I don't like those ones as much, Sparrow. I like my typewriters to be purely mechanical, personally. I do like when I have some sort of form to fill out. I do like busting out the typewriter and typing it in. Just because how many offices receive paperwork filled in by typewriter nowadays? That is so boss. I'm going to petition all retro devs to lock the main menu behind an unskippable demo of something that they really want players to see. How cruel. I am, in fact, a monster. What I like about typewriters was the somewhat brutalist industrial design. They're often black and very angular and futuristic looking at the time, where PCs were beige. I just had to look it up. My rather tech-savvy grandfather had a Canon Typestar 2. Such a great design. If you have an opportunity to post a photo of that model in the Discord, I wouldn't mind taking a moment to admire it when I get a chance. Right on. I came across a travel typewriter in a thrift store about a week ago. Actually, I didn't buy it, but I thought about it. But I looked at it. The thing that was interesting about it was made entirely of plastic. Like even the keys were plastic. Everything was plastic, like to make it light for travel. But also the mechanism, like the key mechanism inside was incredibly broken, so I was not interested in seeing whether or not I'd be able to repair it. Speaking of repairing things, my bed frame broke. Just recently. Like the way the bed frame is designed, right? There's runners on either side of the mattress that connect the headboard to the foot of the bed, right? And there are slats. There are slats that run like horizontally below the mattress. But the thing is that those slats don't actually rest on the runners, right? They rest inside the runners. Inside the runners, I think that's the name for them. The things that go alongside the mattress. If it's the wrong term, oh well. You know what I mean. The sides of the bed frame that aren't the head of their foot or the foot. But, like on the inside of each of the runners, there's like a little ledge, right? Of wood that the slats rest on. And then the mattress rests on top of those slats. But like, here's the thing: like that ledge is just affixed to it's just affixed to the runners by a couple of screws on each side, right? Like 6 or 8 screws per side. So, like, it seems like an optical illusion, right? That when you think about it, because they're what's holding all the weight of everything. It's just those few screws. And it's just so bizarre to me that, like, all of the weight of the mattress and the springboard and the slats and me is being suspended by just, 12 to 18 little pieces of metal. It's very bizarre. But yeah, some of the screws bent, and one of those boards that's alongside the inside of the runner that holds the slats up, one of those boards cracked. So I get some wood glue, and I glued it back together, and I put some screws through it as well to, like, hold it, because I don't have clamps. So I was just like, well, I'll just hold it against itself with some more screws. And now I'm gonna glue it and replace the screws and put it back in place, and it should be fine. But I don't know. It was just very bizarre. It just seemed like a magic trick that so much weight could be suspended by just a few tiny pieces of metal. Yeah, it's like a 1 centimeter width strip of wood. No, it's more like an inch. But yeah, it's a pretty thin piece of wood. But I think it's probably closer to an inch. Even if I didn't glue it back in place, like if I just reattached it broken in 2 pieces, it would still do the job. I just glued it back together for good measure. If you want photos of the typewriters, I could do that. I could post one of them. I could take a picture of it. Pretty easily. The other one should probably be cleaned before I show it off. I haven't really given it a good, thorough cleaning since I got it. I hate that. I actually bolstered my bed with 2x4s because the wood slats in the middle are rubbish and barely attached. You might DM the pictures, because there are several that appear to be similar, and you have no idea which one it was. No worries. Hey, this weapon's really good for this part. I don't like this weapon very much. Ah, and I just lost it. I was saying I don't like that weapon very much, and I was happy to find somewhere where it was really useful. I love how this game pushed the Genesis to its limits. This game is like aesthetically a whole lot of fun. I don't know. There's a couple things about it. Like I want to I like this game. I'm enjoying it. But I wish I liked it more. There are two things. Like there are a lot of little quirks about the controls that I'm not crazy about. They kind of require you to play in a very sort of with a very sort of clunky sort of like style. A lot of it has to do with like when your character is going to do a slide versus a jump, and some of it's just because of the limitations of the Genesis controller or features of it. So there's a lot of little things about the controls that I kind of already been griping about a lot tonight. The worst thing about it, though, like the thing that is like consistently bothersome for me is the camera. I really wish they hadn't messed up the camera. It's kind of a problem with a lot of Contra games. The camera doesn't grab your character in the right place. But with all the other ones, you can manually, like, if you're running to the right, like, you have to go really far to the right before the camera begins to scroll. But with the other Contra games, you can fix that by walking back to the left and having the camera re-grab your character in a better place. But you can't do that with this one. Even if you walk back to the left, the camera doesn't grab your character further to the left. And so you're always too close to the right-hand side of the screen. And, like, that's consistently obnoxious, because that means until you really memorize the game, there's not a whole lot of hope of reacting to things. And even when you know they're there, some of the situations are not super tolerable. So I got a couple small problems that, I don't know, maybe I'll adjust to, maybe I won't. They're not the worst things ever, right? It's like at the point where I'm almost sort of nitpicking, except the camera's a little more serious. The game does, however, look and sound wonderful. This helicopter is a nightmare. This would be Contra Hardcore, indeed, Streaming Fist. Welcome in. Genesis controller definitely fought attempts to add input complexity. You know, I mean, just the thing is, like, it's, you know, it's an evolved... The Genesis controller is a slightly improved Master System controller, which is basically an NES controller. You know, it's just... It's an early video game controller, so it's pretty simple. And because of that, like, it kind of lived through an unfortunate era where games became a little bit more demanding, and it didn't have the buttons to do everything that developers wanted your characters to be able to do simply. So it's a little unfortunate, but Sorry, I meant to ask if this was Pong. I was a big fan of this one. I like a lot of stuff about it. I went into it expecting that I was gonna like it. I went into it expecting that I was gonna like it a lot more than Contra 3 on the Super NES, and that might be true, but that I think I am gonna end up preferring this game, but it's not as clear cut as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, I just went into it thinking I was going to like it more just because people who have watched the stream for a while have told me they thought I would like it more. There wasn't really anything about the game itself that gave me that expectation. Alright, please let that be the final form. It looks like it's game over for you. Nice. Victory. That's our first time. It's our first time defeating that boss. Thank goodness. Nintendo really nailed it when they added what could have at the time been considered superfluous buttons. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I had shoulder buttons. I wish I had shoulder buttons. When I saw the shoulder buttons on the 32X controller, I definitely did not understand what the point of it was, but I was too young to get it. Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, when the Super Nintendo came out, I don't feel like they really used the shoulder buttons for a whole lot for a while. At least the games that I played, the shoulder buttons didn't seem to do a whole lot. But they're definitely invaluable now. Don't hurt me. I'm just trying to make a buck. It's not personal. You can save the sob story for the people at headquarters. Neumann told us who's in charge. Colonel Bahamut? I believe you've heard of him. I have not. He was a hero who fought during the Alien Wars, but 2 years ago, he planned a coup d'etat to overthrow the government. The coup was stopped in time, but the colonel fled. Until now, we have heard nothing of him. He's a dangerous man. I wonder what he's planning to do with that alien cell. His hideout is deep in the jungle. Good hunting. I have not. I'm not trying any of the other characters yet. I'm gonna play all the characters, and I'm gonna try all the alternate paths in the game because it gives you choices sometimes. But for my first playthrough, I'm sticking to one character and I'm making all the same choices. Because I want to explore the game a little at a time. I'm gonna, you know, it's gonna improve its longevity if I don't, you know, superficially look at everything too quickly. I'd rather just take a deep dive into each thing one at a time. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to try them all out. But I'm gonna hold back. It's kind of a rough start here to this level. Kind of a very rough start here to this level. An endless sea of alien monkeys. Oh my goodness. This stage kind of looks a little bit like Operation C on the Game Boy. It was full of bugs. They're coming out the ears. Please tell me I have some credits. Thank goodness. Oh, I'm covered in bees. For such an early game, they went all in on the branching paths. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's actually very similar to, well, I guess, you know, there's a lot of mini-bosses in, there's a lot of mini-bosses in the Super NES game. There's a lot of mini-bosses in the Contra Adventure. I guess after the 8-bit era, Contra really did become kind of like a very heavily boss rush game. This level's the worst thing to ever happen to me. That's probably the main thing that kept me interested in this for so long, the boss rushes. That guy has an axe. See, the camera is just hugely problematic, because it won't scroll until you're more than halfway across the screen. It only scrolls when you're so close to the right-hand side. And the other games, you could be, you know, like you should be able to be about here, and the camera scroll forward as you walk. And in the other games, you can do that. If you walk a little bit back to the left, if the camera's off, you can fix it. But in this one, you can't. You gotta be so close to the right-hand side of the screen. That's my biggest problem with the game. That's the one thing that I'm probably never gonna get over. Oh my goodness. They just keep getting bigger and more difficult to fight. I didn't realize this was a boss. It's payback time. So much for my fancy footwork. Nice. I don't trust this bridge. Ooh. No. It looks so stable and permanent. Oh. We'll try again. I'm wearing down a little bit, but I kind of feel like as long as a run keeps getting further than the previous run, at least, I should keep this streak alive. Don't want that weapon. Whenever you I'd like to have I'd like to have more weapons in my inventory. The bridge is withstanding the punishment pretty well. I mean, all things considered. It looks like the bridge looks like it's made out of the spine of some large animal. Looks like it has a very vertebrate look to it, to me. Oh, like I like to have an arsenal of weapons in my inventory. Like I'd like to pick up all the weapons, but the thing is, like, sometimes they come in at inconvenient times. If you pick up the weapon, it switches you to that weapon, and they're not all very well suited for the enemies that are currently on the screen. And that part right there in the beginning in particular. One of those, so there's two weapons there. One of them is a punch type weapon, and one of them is a spread gun. The spread gun's fine, and I would have grabbed that if I'd shot it down in a more convenient location. But the other one is like a punch weapon. If I pick that up, I'm doomed. Like, it might as well be an instant kill. It might as well be an enemy because it hurts me more than it helps me there. I'm sure that's by design. So yeah, I've only ever chosen go after Deadeye Joe. I've never chosen rescue the research center. But like I said, we're sticking to one path until I see the credits for the first time. Then we'll explore alternatives. Hey, title, welcome in. Dog Mario. Fireflower Dog Mario. That's a pretty rare Mario type. I like the shade of blue. They use it a lot, right? They use it for this boss and my character's pants and his motorcycle. It's a good shade. It's kind of a turquoise color. Looks good. Good night, Frownie. Gotta take care of some stuff before I head to bed. See you tomorrow, Angelus says. Thank you again for the raid, Angelus. We look forward to seeing you again. Best of luck taking care of your stuff. Jumping over those things is shockingly difficult. You feel I do better a spread shot in homing missiles? Well, lucky you, I've got a spread shot. Personally, I'd like to have the C weapon. Whatever that was called. Cluster bomb? Crash bomb? Is that spread shot? It actually looks useful. I take my my statements back. Yeah. I like how it turns out you don't need the speeder bike mech thing. You can just run as fast, apparently. True, true. We don't know how long I could keep up that sprint. My legs look awfully tired. I like how the speed bike, I like how the hover bike grows legs. So the hover bike has the ability to transform into an infinitely more useless vehicle. Are my legs robot legs? Maybe they're like the Star Fox character. Maybe he's like the Star Fox characters. He amputated his own legs for increased functionality. I would really like to use the flamethrower, but this guy's arms, I don't think I can get close enough to him without damaging myself. I still got damaged. I wasn't even using the flamethrower. I should have just used it. Now I'm too scared. What an explosion. Your entire character looks like a dog robot, ergo you have dog robot legs. Even if the legs are not themselves robotic. I get it now. Near 20XX. Primary mode of transportation. Same as now, but for some reason everything runs instead of using wheels. It's like the Flintstones. You're a robot dog with an arm cannon. Are you Rush X? Mega Man X doesn't have a dog, does he? I never thought about that before. That's kind of weird. Oh, they came right for me. I really doubt that I'm going to defeat the Tetris boss here without losing a life, but... we can hope for miracles. No! Victory! Can you believe it? Mega Man X doesn't have a dog. He left for this game. This is the Genesis. The crossover we didn't know we needed. PlayStation Genesis. Okay, thank you. You got it. The Sony Game Box. That stutter step seemed really effective. Oh, just hang out and breathe a moment. Sega Genesis. This is the very first Contra on a Sega platform. Sony and Sega have the same amount of letters. That's how you know they're the same. Yeah, this bridge looks very spinal to me. I did not properly understand how this boss was going to work. I still don't properly understand how it works. We'll get there. Little by slowly. That's how this playthrough's been working. Like, I learn one tiny piece of information for every credit I spend. Weird Pokemon attacks. I'd be angry if you're standing on my spine, too. Oh no, isn't that supposed to be a legitimate form of massage? Where people, like, walk on people's backs? I was just trying to help him out. That worked. I laid down and it worked. Then I forgot to move out of the way of the beam. Alright. I've got it it's payback time. I've got it this time. I'm ready. He's behaving differently. He's not allowed to do that. No! Alright, that's okay. It's supposed to happen. Alright, see, I told you I was going to do better, and then I did. Oh, look how little I can see of what's ahead of me. Right? Because, I can't see everything that's to the right of me, because most of that's useless, because it's underground. Only the section that's above ground counts. And look, it's just a tiny little wedge of visibility. The camera is what is this guy? I didn't know he had a face. The camera in this game is a tremendous problem. Is all that I have to say. And I'm going to keep saying it. Retro Gamer 5K, welcome in. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you've been doing well. It's good to see you again. What a cute little lad. He does have a rather cute set of features. No! I saw the axe a moment too late. Oh, he's talking about me. Don't I feel special now? See, I'm a really slow learner, right? Never mind. I was going to say I'm a really slow learner, but when I learn a lesson, it tends to stick with me. Except it didn't. Every piece of information I have is incorrect. Especially information about myself. Ooh, that slide. That was the luckiest accidental slide that's ever happened. I think this guy's a friend. Look at his eye. He's looking all over the place. I like that guy. Not another one of these. This looks familiar. Look at those moves. Ooh, what's he doing? I did pretty well for having never seen that thing before. I hung in there quite a while. Come on, how can we not think that with your Pokemon beanie? I feel like I have to ask you if you've done your homework. What? Because of my beanie? Because it brings out my youthfulness? Don't you stay up late, mister. No! I... the switching back and forth between stationary and running gun. Ooh, it burns me. I recall as a longtime computer enthusiast being told to go to your room was like telling me to go where I was just headed anyway. That's where the computer was after all. Ah. Oh no, there's another one. This is a very cool game. Despite the the things that kind of bother me about it. I mean, look at this. It's awesome. Sliding through enemies. I really need to get better at this slide because the slide is just where it's at. These things remind me of these, they remind me of an enemy that lives in the desert in Zelda 2. Oh, what are we grabbing the ceiling for? Is this the robots? Did they bring back the robots? I was gonna say the robots from Zelda 2 because I just talked about it and then my brain broke. I meant from Contra 3. No, the bottom of the screen. No. I got so lucky there. I don't know why that didn't hurt me. I mean, it's not vulnerable to any of my attacks yet. I guess it wasn't supposed to be. Ooh, that was close. You got me. We got a credit, though. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them? I feel like that's a quote from something, but I can't recognize it. I can't think where it's from. It's a prequel meme. Oh. I still can't place it though. It's feeling more familiar. Honestly, that rarely happened. I did get grounded a few times in high school, but they were for very justified reasons. Still, that was quite an empty threat with my PlayStation and PC being in my room. What a brat I was, Sparrow says. Thank you, Lightbeam. It's been a long time since I've seen any of those movies. Now it's dropping bombs on my head. It didn't do that before. Why? No lie, most of my memories of those movies are now entirely meme based. The last time I saw each of them was when they were in theaters. I feel like I watched the prequel trilogy. The last time I watched it was right after I graduated college and before I went to Korea. It was somewhere in that time frame, because I remember the apartment I watched them in. So that was like, almost 15 years ago, roughly. The Phantom Menace, I've actually seen a whole bunch of times. That's the only one of the prequels I actually had on VHS tape. So I would watch it. I watched it a lot. The other two I've probably only ever seen twice. Whenever I first rented them, And then the time when I watched all 3 of them on DVD that I just mentioned. I keep considering giving them a rewatch, but each time I balk at the idea of watching The Phantom Menace again. See, the thing is, Attack of the Clones would be the hardest one for me to watch. That movie's always just kind of struck me as dull. All right, my friends, I think we're going to wrap things up here. I'm running low on steam. Can't look at the TV. It keeps trying to spoil stuff for me. I think I could stomach it because it's so rich in memes. We'll find another channel to raid. Thank you very much for being here tonight, my friends. I really appreciated having you along for this ride. We didn't quite make it to the credits, but we saw a lot of new stuff. Kind of. We beat one boss that I'd never beaten before, and we made it like halfway through another level, so I'm gonna call it a victory. If nothing else, you know, got more familiar with the game. We're gonna play it again. We're actually gonna play it again on Wednesday in the first part of the stream. Wednesday night's going to be the same 2 games we did tonight, right? Battletoads and Contra, but we're going to do them in the opposite order. Which means we won't have as much time for Contra. So hopefully this practice will... Hopefully I won't need to de-rest. And I should be back tomorrow night as well. Tomorrow night we're playing more of Ao the Clown. And we're going to play more Dark Souls. And Dark Souls is going to be a little bit more exciting than it's been the past couple times. Because at the very end of the last Dark Souls session, I found a new area. I didn't get to explore it yet. I don't know if it's progress or if it's going to be another dead end. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I want to explore it myself. But whatever it is going to be new. So even if it isn't... Even if it does turn out to be a dead end, at least it's a new dead end. Hey, Greg. Yeah, I'm sorry you came in right at the end. I'll be there with bells on, Lightbane says. Hey, we'll be happy to have you. I'm expecting, you know, I'm hopeful. I don't really know. I can't really say that I'm expecting much in particular, but I'm hopeful for a lot of exciting progress. I'm going to send this over to a streamer playing, looks like Mega Man X. The stream's titled SNES Randomness, so we might get to see a lot of Super NES classics tonight. Might get to see some Super NES trash. I don't know. This is a streamer. I haven't actually caught any of their stream yet. Never mind. They just ended their stream. This is someone that I followed a long time ago that came in on a raid. I've never been able to catch them live. Still haven't. Alright, let me find someone else. That one fell through. Oh, there's a lot of people that I follow that are streaming right now, but they're playing games that I myself want to play and don't want spoiled for me. Or they're just playing modern stuff that I'm not super interested in. There's almost always someone streaming in the super ghouls and ghosts category when my stream ends, but they're always streaming in a language I don't speak. I was watching VODs on your YouTube channel, Greg says. Hey, thank you for that, Greg. I appreciate you. I appreciate you checking out the archive. Somebody has to watch those old videos. In all seriousness, though, I'm glad you upload those to YouTube. Some streamers should never do. I'm glad you're enjoying them, Greg. They don't get, I don't really push the YouTube channel a whole lot. It's not really a focus of mine, but I do like, to have an archive of what's happened on the stream, and I do like that. I do really appreciate that someone's enjoying them. Because it is I stream so much, I create so many VODs, it is a little tedious to, that's why I'm always so far behind on it too. It is a little tedious to do, so I'm glad someone's enjoying them. Alright, I think I'm going to send us in the direction of Man Burning, my friends. I haven't seen Man Burning in a while. He's a really friendly guy. His stream is a bit more... it's a little bit more loud and chaotic than our stream, and it's definitely not family friendly. There's a lot of adult language and mature conversation, but he's a super friendly guy, and he's got a really active and friendly community. So we'll head along in his direction. If you would come with me, he's playing Pokemon Emerald. I believe that's, I'm wrong. I was thinking that was one of the remake ones. I was thinking that was one of the Gen 1 remakes, but that's not. Those are Ruby and Sapphire. Well, Emerald would be part of that, wouldn't it? I don't know. He's playing Pokemon Emerald on the GBA. Let's go. Yeah, 4 or 5 streams a week. It creates a lot. It creates a lot of backlog. All right, my friends. So one last time, thank you very much for being here. Always really appreciate your company. I hope I get to see you again very soon. Tomorrow night, AO the Clown and Dark Souls on the Switch. And try and make progress in both of those. More Contra and Battletoads on Wednesday night. And then hopefully Thursday and Friday night streams as well. 11 p.m. Central Time, the target time for startup. Maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But yeah, be well until I see you again. Hopefully that'll be very soon, my friends. I'm all out of stream for you for tonight. So let's head out. It's time to go on an adventure.